If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse, where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone. And if you're craving a taste of Italy, come experience delicious Italian cuisine and the attentive service at Don Vito's. Our culinary team starts with the freshest ingredients and transforms them into traditional favorites. And don't forget Italian desserts. Don Vito's. Savor the taste of Italy. Finally, if sushi is more your style, join us at the popular Zenshin Asian restaurant and sushi bar, where we're serving up the freshest sashimi, nigiri, and sushi rolls. And beyond the sushi, an exciting contemporary Asian cuisine menu, plus a variety of specialty drinks, Japanese and domestic beer, wine, and sake. Balance your hunger with Zenshin.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. Jeff Parles, Kenny White, Alex White alongside me. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning, Jeff.
Ryan McCormick is also here as well. I can actually almost see Ryan McCormick this morning. Almost. Hi, Ryan. There he is. And there we go. Happy to be with you. Also, before we go, happy birthday to our fearless leader, Ann. Thank you for being our fearless leader.
Happy birthday, Ann.
Happy birthday to Ann here on May 1 of 2025. Also, the fact that it is already May is pretty nuts to me. A third of the way through the calendar year. Before you know it, the three of us will be talking about football. We'll be talking about 100+ games in week 1 of the college football season. We'll be in the last week of August, early September. Before we know, just snap the fingers, right?
I'd be willing to talk 250 college games.
Oh, I know you would be. I know you would. Hey, look. If you throw out the record books when Slippery Rock and Stroudsburg play each other, or East Stroudsburg play each other in Eastern Pennsylvania, to say the very least. There you go. There's my Slippery Rock mention for the year.
I have a 19-game winning streak going in FCS football.
There we go.
To continue in September.
Got to keep that.
Actually, it'll continue in August.
Yeah, get some Butler football in action or something along those lines. I don't know why I picked Butler, who's not a good football
They're on the FCS board.
But they're on the board, though. I know that, to say the very least. All right, let's get into it because there's a few baseball games that are starting right at the top of our show. There's already 2 games that are underway. Pittsburgh Pirates behind Paul Skeens already up 1-0. Brian Reynolds solo homer in the bottom of the first. And then in Cincinnati, Cardinals swept a double dip, so Kenny all over that yesterday. Cardinals have Liberatore against Abbott today, battle of lefties in Cincinnati to wrap up that series. 0-0, top 2. We begin in Queens.
Really quick on that, Jeff.
Please.
I do like the Cubs today, especially that they didn't win yesterday. Bullpen kind of gave that one up, and I think Ray has been really good for them as well. Now, if we want to wait a little bit until we see how far Skeens goes, but I think overall team for team, we know that the Cubs is the better team here, especially offense. So Pirates used a lot of their arms yesterday at the end of that game to get that win, so might be a good spot to do some in-game here.
Plus 180 at the moment on the Cubs early goings in Pittsburgh. All right, we go to Queens. Mets and Diamondbacks rubber match after the Diamondbacks survived yesterday. Even though the Mets loaded them up, came up 1 run shy yesterday. It'll be Zach Gallen and Kodai Senga. Gallen has not pitched well to begin this season. ERA north of 5, WHIP almost at 1.5. Senga has been excellent for the Mets. His worst start of the year, raised his ERA to 1.26. So still off to a great start for Kodai. Mets are minus 155 favorite here at the South Point with a total of 8 game starts in 7 minutes, Kenny.
I made Senga $1.28 and 8. I'm a big Diamondbacks fan. I think this team very good. Now, Gallen has not pitched anywhere near his capabilities, and that just could be, again, not in midseason form. But it's about that time, as I said, with Corbin Burns yesterday. Same thing, kind of, working their way into shape and getting there, but knowing now that, after 32 innings, Gallen's got to know where he's at, and facing against a team like the Mets, I think you're going to see great focus out of him here in this game. So I lean to Arizona. I like the price. If I can get $1.50, I think I'll take $1.50. $1.50.
I'm going to stay off of this one. I'm really impressed with Senga and what we have seen from him after missing a whole year last year. But, really his median right now, 0 ERA, 4 hits per game, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks. So nothing great there. But still, in all of these starts so far, he really hasn't had a bad one. And I do think Zach Gallen will start to come back into form, but finally had his first start without giving up a home run so far this year, but did go 5 innings and just 4 hits, 3 runs against the Braves. So I think it's a tough one to handicap here, but as I mentioned, I really like what I've seen from Senga so far.
I would only be a lean to the Mets. Mets only suffered their second home loss yesterday and still almost came back down 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th, just came up 1 run shy in that one. All right, we go to Cleveland next, just getting these early games out of the way. Rotation numbers a little bit different here for you out here in Nevada, 961, 962. Simeon Woods Richardson against Ben Lively for Cleveland, minus 25 on the Twins here on the road, plus 110 on the take back for Cleveland, total of 9 for this one, Alex.
Ooh, 9 feels really high. It's really looking at how both of these pitchers have started this year and what their median numbers are, and a little higher than expected from both of these guys. I don't think a lot of people are Woods Richardson fans, but I think he is a good pitcher, and we talked about him yesterday. Ben Lively, a little bit average, really, but I just think that 9 is a little bit too high here. Not really interested in the side. Cleveland up 2-1. Makes me lean a little bit to the Twins to try and tie this series up at minus 125. I think that's probably the right side.
Yeah, I bet Minnesota yesterday, and I see the final score, and if it wasn't for one swing of the bat by the Guardians, the Twins win the baseball game. I think the Twins outplayed them the entire game. The Guardians won the game. I think it was a bad luck loss. I still not a big believer in this Guardians offense. Absolutely love their bullpen. They're one of the best bullpens in baseball. Them and Detroit, both 2 great bullpens, but I don't think the Guardians can hit, and I just don't think they can. I really think it's smoke and mirrors with them. So I'm going to be back on Minnesota today. Alex brought up Simeon Woods Richardson yesterday and said, I haven't seen him. Was he hurt? And I said, no. I looked him up, and, he had a relief appearance against the Braves. I think it was an emergency relief appearance that he went 4 1/3, or it was scheduled. And I don't know if he liked it or not, but his last 2 starts have been really good. Hitters are hitting 225 against him, an xFIP of 318. And as Alex said, I think Ben Lively's just an average big league pitcher. So I got the better offense, the better pitcher. Guardians do have the better bullpen. Maybe this is the first 5-inning bet on the Twins.
First 5 on Minnesota today, currently sitting at a flip. So minus 110 both sides if you want to take Minnesota first 5. All right, let's go to Lugo and Boz next in Tampa, Royals and Rays. How about last night real quick? The rookie Cameron for Kansas City carried a no-hitter into the 7th inning in his major league debut in a 3-0 win for Kansas City behind Noah Cameron. Again, we've talked about how everyone has been amazing everyone's been amazing at home, except for Tampa for the most part this year, other than the really bad teams at the bottom of baseball. Again, this is kind of what happens when you're not playing in your actual ballpark. Rays minus 60 plus 145 on the Royals, total 8.5.
Well, that actually works for them and the Athletics, right? Been better on the road for both those teams. I love this under, first 5 going under. Now, it is a little risky, I think, because both of these pitchers are coming off the best game of the season so far for them. So Seth Lugo, 8 shutout innings against the Astros, which is 3 hits, 1 walk, struck out 8 in that one. And then Sean Baez, he struck out 6, 7 scoreless, allowed just 4 hits against the Padres. And that was kind of the Padres team that wasn't really hitting. So that makes me a little bit nervous. But I think that I don't trust either of these offenses too much. So I think going under first 5 is the way to go.
Glad I talked about this yesterday. First-time starters, that when they get called up, they really don't. They don't have the. They're happy to be there. They're focused, and they don't realize what they're doing until after they do it, and then they start to think about it. It's been a betting system forever that people just blindly bet first-time starters because for some reason, everyone that comes up to the big, not everyone, but a lot of these guys come up to the big leagues and have a really good start. And if you look at Cameron's start, yeah, he had a no-hitter. He only gave up 1 hit. He walked 5, and he only struck out 3. The batting average balls in play was 0.59, 100% left on base. He pitched a horrendous game and threw a shutout and gave up 1 hit. I'm going against this kid next outing against whoever plays against him because for the next 4 days, he's going to be on cloud 9 and being celebrated for this start he had. So just remember that. I bet he gets knocked out before the 3rd inning in his next start because he won't have the luck going for him. He's going to realize where he's at. He's now in a big league locker room, big league dugout, big league hotels. And, things turn around quickly. Today's matchup.
I believe they are going to Baltimore next, but he might not pitch yet in that one, right? We'd have to look at the next.
He's going to go 4 days from now.
Yeah.
Or 5 days from now. Shane Baz has been tremendous. He is really putting up great numbers, but Seth Lugo has as well. These two are both really good. So I hate to bet this park under in the daytime, and I guarantee it's warm there. So it was warm there last night and didn't get runs, but today might be a little different story. My number was 7.5 on the game. And there's 8s out there, Jeff.
The best we're doing right now is what you said at 8.5. I mean, all those 8s are gone now.
So it's 85 degrees there today, 86 degrees there today. The ball's going to really carry. So I'm going to go over again. Even though both these guys are pitching great, it's just all about how the baseball carries. And you're going to get a couple balls into the gap and a couple balls that go over the fence that you normally wouldn't get in a night game that would be out. So I'll go over once again in this ballpark.
Nothing on. Even though Kansas City has now managed to stabilize this and get back over 500, I'm still not 100% buying them. And Ryan, throw the standings up real quick in the American League. This league, as we've talked about, is just jumbled. Other than the White Sox, and I know the Angels had their fun for the good chunk of April. I'm going to throw the Angels in the same category as the White Sox of the hope is very limited to make the postseason. Everybody else, even Minnesota, who's currently 6 games behind the Tigers in the AL Central, but still very much in the mix. Other than the Angels and the White Sox, all 13 teams are very much alive through a month. No one has played themselves completely out of things. Again, the season is interminable. We'll be talking. It feels like we'll be talking about this for 15 years, even though it's one baseball season. But this is a jammed American League, as you can see in the standings. Only 2 teams, I should say, are more than 5 games over 500. So very compact, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at that, you really could start to make a case for any of them. I mean, even the Texas Rangers that are 4th right now in the West. So, yeah, it should be fun actually watching this race here in the AL.
So even a Baltimore Oriole team who's in dead last at 12-8, they still have some talent there.
I still have a lot of talent. Again, Baltimore, as we've talked about, is just underachievers so far to begin the year. Even though yesterday, the 4 and the 2nd stood up for Baltimore as they take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees. So an important series win while things have been going poorly there in Baltimore. All right, I want to hit a few more early games here, and then we'll shift back into the later games. We'll keep it in the rotation number to make it a little bit easier. We'll go right after the AL. Let's keep it in the AL. We'll go to Texas first. First off, I have to applaud us. I did not torpedo you guys.
No, you did
yesterday. A no sweater for the first 5. Full game got very dicey, by the way.
Yes, it did.
What was going on there?
With a 6-run ninth for the A's, still got there.
Yeah.
7-1, still under 8.5, even though got very dicey. You
Lawrence
got
Butler.
Springs and Molly here today. Taylor Molly's been awesome to begin the year for the Rangers. He's a minus 130 favorite for Texas, plus 115 to take back with a total of 8.5 in this one in Arlington.
So, given the Rangers even a little bit more here, trying to get right here. I know this is the game 3 of game 4 for them. No, it's not. Athletics lead 2-1. So this is game 4. So the Rangers want to at least tie up this series. So I do like the Rangers on this side. I mean, I don't think Jeffrey Springs is very good in the majors for them. His numbers have not looked good all year. Gives up a home run in almost every single game. 5 earned runs in his last one against the White Sox. So yeah, I think that you got the better pitcher with Molly and the Rangers and trying to tie up the series. So I think that's a pretty cheap price there, minus 130.
I want to say yesterday's game, amazing that whoever bet that over yesterday almost got there. I don't know who did. They bet it for they got their money back, didn't it? Was it?
The early 8s got their money back.
Yeah, they got their money back.
Yeah.
So whoever bet it over 8 to push it to 8.5, and then I saw later in the afternoon 8.5 over. So there was more money coming in. I have no idea why, especially with the roof being closed. So I thought it was information that somebody knew the roof was going to be open and the ball carries much better there, but that wasn't the case. Again today, roof closed. They bet it over once again. I guess. The Rangers had a bunch of hits the other day. I think there were 19 hits, 14 singles, and maybe they thought this offense is about to break out, and they're probably pretty close. But again, I like what I've seen out of Mall for the Rangers, and the A's lineup I still don't think is that good. I think it's an average major league lineup. So I'm going to lean under here once again in Texas.
Don't have a problem with that. Obviously, these pitchers, even O'Malley has been awesome to begin the year, still not as good as what we had yesterday with the 2 aces of Severino and Evaldi. Maybe this is another first 5 under yet again at 4.5. And you can get even money on some 4.5 unders in the first 5 for this one. All right. We'll stay in rotation number order because that White Sox game doesn't start until 11 a.m. So we'll just keep it going with these AL games and then we'll flip back around. We'll go to Toronto next. What a weird series that has been north of the border so far between these two teams. Red Sox, of course, 2 nights ago, the bombardment, all those homers. Yesterday, Boston blew a 6-0 lead. And the Blue Jays come from behind, win 7-6. Anthony Santander finally waking up for Toronto with a big home run to force that game to extras. Basically a coin flip. As coin flippy as you can get at the numbers here at the South Point. Minus 10 on the Red Sox with Houck, minus 105 with Jose Barrios, total 8.5. Alex, I don't think there's any issue with going back to the well for the 3rd consecutive game on an over in this series with how that ballpark has managed to play through 2 games with these 2 teams there.
I don't either. It's really tough. I know that JR he's following the umpires and he does like this under, I believe, if he can write that in the chat to confirm, but I don't really want to go under with these 2. And I know you made it a little lower than 8.5 as well. So I think I got to stay off of this. I do think it is a coin flip, and Tanner Houck was pitching okay, and then he had that awful start against Tampa Bay, and now I've kind of just backed off. But last 2 have been pretty decent for him. And then Jose Barrios, I think he might be better coming into this on 3 1/3 scoreless against the Yankees. He might be in better form here. So nothing for me, side or total. I'm going to stay off.
Well, second time he's seen Toronto, he pitched against them on April 9th, 6 2/3, 5 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, just 2 strikeouts in that game. And, numbers can be, I say numbers don't lie a lot of times, but numbers do lie when the sample size is small. 6 starts on the year for Houck, and one of those starts at Tampa, 2 1/3 innings, he gave up 11 earned runs that day, and his ERA is completely overinflated because of that one start. And even if you take like an average game score for him, it's horrendous. But 2 of his last 3 starts have been 50 cents above average. This guy's a former first-round draft pick who's got great stuff. He's got a explosive fastball, and some secondary pitches to go with it. He had a really good year last year. I think this guy's going to pitch a good game here today. I like him. I'm going to back him, kind of a do theory with Houck, and I think he pitches well here against the Blue Jays once again for the second time.
What do you think total-wise? Could that be
I lean
more
to the
of
under.
Yeah, could it be first
I'm not
5?
I'm not following umpires. I haven't really followed them for years because there wasn't really that many good ones anymore. The numbers I was looking at.
There's not many good ones left, Kenny, as it is.
Yeah. With the new software that they can grade these umpires on their pitch calls, more guys have gotten more consistent. Where, that it was just like an ego thing. If a pitcher umpire would give an inch off the plate, a hitter umpire wouldn't give you anything off the plate, but I don't think they're out there anymore. Pitcher umpires and hitter umpires.
It's interesting because I've done a little more. We love JR, and JR, I don't want this to come off a little bit. I don't know can't think of the right word here, but condescending. But and I think Kenny makes a good point where everyone is so hyper aware now of what the strike zone should be. Hitters, by the way, know the hitters know the strike zone better than the umpires.
Yeah.
Period. I don't think there's any argument at this point. But because of, other than really Jim Wolf, who has played as a pitcher's umpire forever, of course,
Yes.
brother of Randy, as we know, Randy, of course, was a solid pitcher for about 12 years in the mid 2000s.
Right.
But I think your point is a good one here, where there are some guys who have been around a long time who still will either be pure pitchers umpires or pure hitters umpires. But the new guys, the guys who've come in the last decade, really have kind of been built of, hey, you got to start getting stuff right. You got to be as close to, again,
they're graded more strictly in the minors,
correct,
than they'd ever had been before.
That's my point.
Yeah,
and I think with some older guys, there are ways you can do this every once in a while.
Yeah,
you try doing this with the newer guys, forget it. You're gonna lose money in the long term on that.
Yeah.
Side note, one of our players was robbed a home run yesterday because they called it foul, and it was a definite home run. But then he got it back because he did hit a 3-run home run later in the game. Yes.
Thank you very much for that. Over 10.5 in that ballpark. That's how I don't know what's going on in minor league baseball. Is it the baseball that the baseball isn't as good or as wrapped as tight as it was? Because 10.5 in that ballpark. I've been following minor league baseball for 5 years now, and Las Vegas ballpark is a 13. There was no pitchers in that game yesterday to say that, it should have been under. The wind was even blowing out 10 miles an hour to center field.
Again, we've with the baseballs, we've had this at the major league level a few years ago too, where all of a sudden the runs went through the roof because they changed just a small little thing with it, and they don't say anything. Don't say anything. No, so we have no idea. So I think that's a good point there, Kenny.
Joey Estes did actually start for the Aviators.
Yeah, I know he's decent.
So going back to the bigs here, and we go to the Angels next, who we just threw under the bus, and I think properly so, for, again, off to a great start. They've only won twice in the last 10 days now. Now they welcome Detroit. It's Casey Mize and Yusei Kikuchi. Look, if there's ever an opportunity for the Angels to get off the schneid, it's got to be today with their best starting pitcher, arguably, in Kikuchi, the opening day starter, plus 110, minus 125 on Casey Mize, who, again, we've talked about him a lot on this show. Great stuff, just hasn't fully put it together because of injuries. The former number 1 overall pick by the Detroit Tigers, Alex.
Yeah, and I really like what I've seen from him so far. I don't really trust Kikuchi right now. I don't know. His last start against the Twins, he had 0 strikeouts, 4 walks, 4 runs, and 9 hits in just 2 innings pitched, so didn't even make it very far in that start. I like what I've seen from Casey Mize. This would be only a lean to the Tigers. I don't know if I want to lay minus 125 here on this first game of the series, though. So nothing for me. Total wise, I think that's right too at 8.5.
I was hoping this was going to be Kyle Hendricks Day because I think he's the new Patrick Corbin. Except for he's right-handed and can't get anybody out. So I was hoping he was going to go. That's who I had from last night. I really like Detroit. And just looking at Kikuchi, you're right, Alex, did not pitch well at Minnesota. Previous game, he had 4 walks and 5 1/3 innings too. And he has walked 3 or more in 4 of his last 5 starts. So I don't know what's going on with him. I like what I've seen out of Mize. He's been really good out of the gate. And as I mentioned before, this bullpen for the Tigers, when we look at those standings, Detroit and Cleveland have 2 of the best records in the American League. And really the best things both of those teams do is their bullpen. So I trust this Detroit team. So I'll back them once again. Had them the other day against Houston. And I'm going to back them, I guess, this entire series probably against the Angels.
Got them yesterday, yeah.
Going to the interleague game here today, and another early start, White Sox and Brewers. Again, the final game of this series is the Brewers try to complete the sweep over the dreadful Sox. Plus 145 on Chicago here today. They throw Burke. There'll be Patrick on the other side for Milwaukee at minus 160 with a total of 8.5 on this one.
Do we have anything weather related in this game?
That is a good question, Alex. White to the weather report we go. It is a yellow-green game, which means we got some showers early that could actually delay the start of this game. But then after that, should be okay. Wind's blowing right to left at 15 miles an hour.
So that was kind of, I mean, the first 2 games were not easy for the Brewers. You kind of had to sweat those out. And now going for the sweep here in this one. Up next, they will host the Cubs. I don't know if this could be a look ahead here. And so I don't know. I don't really feel great laying that minus 160 with the Brewers here, but I don't want to jump in with just plus 145 with the White Sox. I'd need a whole lot more. So nothing for me in this game.
You know, it's just kind of fade the White Sox, and Sean Burke has been horrendous so far this year. So advantage across the board, I think, for the Brewers in this series. And I have always loved to bet the Brewers against the Cubs because they're an hour apart. They're rivals. Milwaukee's looked down on by Chicago, and they always have been. And the Brewers have always played well against the Cubs because there's really no travel. They get in a bus. They drive from the team headquarters an hour away to Wrigley Field. Now they got to drive an hour and a half to Rate Field to play the White Sox. But they've been there. I'm just saying there's no real home advantage. There's probably more Milwaukee Brewer fans in the stands today than there are White Sox fans. Are there any White Sox fans left anymore? I don't know.
Oh, boy.
You know, that's the thing to answer. And the streaks all say Milwaukee. The weather is going to be for the hitters today. And with a guy like Sean Burke pitching, I think the Brewers have a big day. So I'll go in again with this one with Brewers first 5, Brewers for the game, Brewers and over first 5, and Brewers and over for the game. This is a parlay it, tease it, squeeze it, however you can make a bet on it. I'm betting the Brewers here today to have a big game.
I don't know if they won the first 5 the last
All
2 games.
1% bets though, folks. Just 1% on each one. So I might have like 6 1% bets, maybe a couple of 0.5% bets.
First 5 the last 2 days. Brewers lost the first 5 on Tuesday and then had the big inning in the 6th. Yesterday, they were tied through 5. So first 5 has been a little not as fruitful. But the full games and the run lines has still been good for the full Milwaukee Brew crew.
I guess if you're betting against a bad team like the White Sox, you really want to go full game. Anything can happen in a shorter stint.
You want that bullpen, which is as bad as any bullpen in baseball on your side. All right, 2 more to get to. We flip back to the NL. Phillies and the Nats. Phil's looking for the sweep over Washington here. It's going to be Taijuan Walker for Philadelphia. Will be Lord for Washington. Minus 60 on the Phils, plus 145 on the Nats. Big total, 10 here at Citizens Bank Park tonight, Alex.
Wow. I love a spot where they're trying to avoid the sweep. So I got to look first at the Nationals if I can make a case for them. And if I like them in this spot. If I give them 25 cents, I'm right there. I really can't make a case to taking that plus 145. It is a lean, though. Brad Lord coming off a nice game against the Mets, 4 innings pitched, 2 runs, 5 hits. Did not issue a walk in that one. Looking at the rest of his numbers, though, not really a strikeout guy and does usually walk. So that was definitely one of his best outings of the last 4. 10 is a high number. Don't want to go over that here. So nothing for me in this one.
I might as well just parlay the Phillies to the Brewers today because
go for it.
Same thing, check marks across the board. The Phillies are better offensively, they're better defensively. The starting pitcher's better, the bullpen's better. They have a 4-game winning streak going. The Nationals have lost 3 in a row. I love to play streaks, so yeah, give me the Phillies today as well with all of that going. I made the total 10, so not betting that over, but need to check the weather because if there's low barometric pressures there, it could be an over. We'll see.
The last one on the board today in baseball, the Colorado Rockies go to San Francisco to take on the Giants. We're going to give the Rockies a round of applause because they won a game. They did it. They avoided the worst April record since 1901. If they had lost yesterday, 4-26 would have been good for the worst record in 124 years in baseball in the month of April. So they avoided it barely with a win yesterday. They'd be 5-25.
I wish I would have
at
known
the end
that.
of the month. I didn't find that until yesterday, until I saw the article. But here we go. Freeland and Verlander. Verlander's minus 260, plus 220 on Freeland, 7.5 the total. Alex, I don't know. Can you possibly take a shot on the Rockies here or no?
No, I don't think so. Especially, the Giants come in here losing 2. They need to get right, and what's a better get right spot than having a series against the Rockies? So I like the home team. I don't love that huge price. If anything, I would just look at first 5 for the Giants money line here. I know Verlander hasn't been Verlander, but he is still better than Kyle Freeland. So how are the Giants? Decent against lefties too. So yeah, I would look at first 5 here.
Both these teams have been struggling offensively over the last 7 days. Well, Colorado's been struggling for 30 days, but the Giants for the last 7 days, 71 weighted runs created, just hitting 207, slugging of 309. Their offense has fallen a little bit. Kyle Freeland always liked this left-hander. He's a good pitcher, but he hasn't thrown well this year. Maybe it's, a due factor for him as well. Chase Dolander, maybe give a wake-up call to the veteran pitchers on this staff that, they need to pitch better than they have been. So maybe get a good effort out of both Verlander and Freeland today. I might go under the first 5 innings here in this game.
We mentioned yesterday that we were kind of looking for Dolander to finally wake up, and he pitched very well yesterday.
Yeah.
Chris Sale and Brian McCormick shared this yesterday with us, and this is from Jay Hay Kidd, who's with Underdog Fantasy. Chris Sale's the first pitcher ever to have a start of 10 strikeouts and no walks at Coors Field and lose. First pitcher ever to do that at Coors Field.
Wow.
So there you go. But boy, craziness. But the Rockies on the board. They have 5 wins. They're only 11 games out of 4th place now going into the month of May. 15. You imagine with how long baseball season is? You ended April and you're 15 and a half games out of first place. Can you imagine how long those next 5 months are going to be if it's this already? Hey, it's going to be a long year in Denver for that Rocky team. And then poor them, they're in the toughest division in a league that is just way in front of the AL on top of it. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, the trivia question will be in the bottom line. We'll check in with the chat. And, of course, our playoff games. 4 in hockey, 2 in the NBA. Timberwolves closed out the Lakers last night. More when we get back. Sports by the Book.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book. Jeff Parles, Kenny White, Alex White. I'm Jeff Parles. Trivia question is up, so make sure to put it in the chat. Your answer. See if you can beat JR. It's a new month, everybody.
Oh,
It's a new month. New chance to beat JR and Nick in the ticker trivia challenge. Alex, what else is going on in the chat here today?
that's funny. JR did actually, he chimed in and said the same thing about speaking of umps from the game last night. So hello, JR. Good morning. Dean Hilt, Robert, Vicarious Vegas. Hello to everyone. Ryan, Nick, of course, those two. Vicarious Vegas, I got him. So I think that's everybody. But please, if you are watching along, subscribe. It'll just take 5 to 10 minutes. You can jump in the chat as well. We'd love to hear from you. Also, don't forget, our Kentucky Derby special is now on South Point Studio channel, which they did a great job yesterday with a ton of people. Great information there. So
I will apologize to Chris Andrews in person tomorrow. That's all I have to say on that. Alex had her pick on there. My official Kentucky Derby pick for everyone out there to fade, or honestly bet them show because they'll inevitably not win and finish either second or third. So you can go from there.
do you have? Did you look yet?
No Derby picks for you yet, Kenny?
Oh, no, I did not. No Derby picks for me. No time.
So we go to hockey, guys. We'll go from the thoroughbreds to the rink here. Last night, Florida finishes off Tampa. Very impressive any way you slice it from the Panthers. Just really the better team without a shadow of a doubt in a 5-game series. They win all 3 games in Tampa as well. Very impressive from the defending champs. They move on. The Caps, and in the end, just overwhelming an undermanned team. They take full advantage of no Montembeault. Caps move on, setting up the matchup that most of us wanted to see in Carolina and Washington in that Metro Division pod. You're shaking your head. You're kind of you didn't want to. You wanted to see New Jersey with what you got on the Caps here, Alex.
Yes, that's true because I do have the Caps going all the way to the finals there. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Florida, wow, they look very good. It's going to be tough for whoever comes out of that series, Toronto or Ottawa.
And then on the west side, Winnipeg, home sweet home has been the name of the game in the Winnipeg-St. Louis series. 5-3 win last night for the Jets. Hellebuck was better. I don't think he was great, but he was good enough last night. And the Winnipeg offense finally awoke. Really, honestly, I don't think either goaltender played particularly well last night in a 5-3 game where, again, there were less than 45 combined shots between the two teams. Normally, you don't get an 8-goal game out of that, especially that quality of goaltending, and you did last night. Winnipeg up 3-2, back to St. Louis for game number 6. That is coming up. When is that? That is on Friday night, so tomorrow night in St. Louis. The only game on the docket tomorrow that Alex and I will fully break down. As opposed to that, we have 4 tonight. 4 tonight, and we begin in Ottawa, where we're moving up the DEFCON scale for the Toronto Maple Leafs here. We're moving up the scale. Up 3-0. All right, you lose game 4 at overtime. All right, it's fine. Ottawa got theirs. No problem. They got pretty well beaten up in game 5 at home. I know it was 4-0. It was a little more of a beatdown than it really was, but Ottawa was clearly the better team the whole way through. And here tonight, the Sens are back at home. They're favorites in game 6. -120, 5.5. Look, if Toronto loses this game, there is absolutely no pressure on Ottawa. There's no pressure on Ottawa as it is anyway. It's all on Toronto. And you're down 3-0. You're playing in house money. It's only happened 5 times in NHL history before going into this postseason. Alex, I'm staying the heck away from this game. But all I'll say is if Ottawa wins this game, I think Ottawa is going to end up pulling this nonsense off and winning game 7 because this would be very Maple Leafs-esque to do this and blow a 3-0 lead.
The scary thing is, right, it's the momentum, and Ottawa's got all the momentum. And then you got to think in the back of the Maple Leafs' mind, I mean, the Sens zoned them the whole regular season too. So now they've kind of, just like you said, playing with house money, having fun out there. if we look at the numbers, I made Toronto minus 105 on the road here. If we add 25 cents, then they should be a $1.30 favorite. Even on the road against the Sens, desperation, home revenge, whatever you want to call it. Even though I guess the Sens are still trying to avoid elimination. So should we give them the full 25 and take even money here with Toronto, or is this a stay away now?
It's a really tough one. Being a rivalry game, and there is a lot going on there with the revenge factor of losing a home game. But again, the closeout game is the toughest one to win because the other team has their backs to the wall. It's an elimination game for them. So you get that type of effort. I'm going under. 3 of the last 4 have gone under this number. Again, rivalry. Always, I love to go under in rivalry games, even if they're high scoring teams. But the Senators are not. The Senators are a defensive-oriented team, and that's what they want this game to shake out. They're going to try to, make this as sloppy as possible for Toronto.
And 2 days ago, I liked that under, and not number-wise. I mean, that was just a feel thing, so I can definitely understand that.
Well, we got there pretty easily 2 nights ago on the under for Game 5. Boy, if Toronto manages to blow this series, I don't even want to know what goes on in that city and that organization if they manage, especially to forget just a country mate, a province mate in this. Of course, the Battle of Ontario here. Sens minus 20. Again, they're live all of a sudden. If you want Ottawa to win the series, by the way, the Sens are still plus 320. So you are still getting a nice price, even though you roll it over minus 120 in this game, and whatever it is in Game 7 probably will be better than that on Ottawa. And also, too, you were getting gigantic numbers going into Game 5 or Game 4, I should say, on Ottawa.
I really think Toronto gets it done tonight.
I hope they do, Alex.
I really do.
hope they do.
And I mean, I love the Senators team. I was so excited when they went on a run and we're going to be in the playoffs. But now, I mean, I think this is where Toronto and the Stars that they need really step up, which the numbers are scary. There's really bad numbers with Toronto and closeout games, and that's what we've seen from them in the playoffs and Austin Matthews. And so it's a little nerve-wracking. I'm going to stay off altogether. I'm just going to watch this one.
Going up next, the Stars and Avalanche. This is the 6:30 Pacific game. So this is the second one on the card. It's not the second earliest game. We'll get to that in a moment. Avs are minus 90 at home trying to stave off elimination. Dallas is getting healthier. Dallas, again, Robertson came back, scored twice in Game 5.
Wyatt Johnson.
Excuse me.
Wyatt Johnson scored twice.
Excuse me, Alex. I misspoke there. But
well, no, we were talking about the other day. It was a mix-up.
Yeah,
but he did come.
So still getting healthier as it is. The point still stands. Johnson scored twice, and also Randon added a goal as well, which I'm sure for Colorado still kind of bites.
Yes.
Minus 90 on the Avs. 6 the total on this one. So, Alex, I'll ask you, because you have a Colorado in series price here. You had plus 175 today. Is that worth it here to take that plus 175 on the Avs to win this series? Because even with a rollover, that's still going to be pretty tight on minus 190. And Colorado would be favored in a Game 7 on the road against Dallas, as we've seen all series.
I don't think so. I think I'm on the wrong side here. I might have to get off of that series bet there because, I mean, my numbers have kind of leaned to Dallas from the start of this series, and they still do. I still have a lean to the Stars here. I mean, I guess we'd have to give a little bit to Colorado for desperation, which kind of takes me off of that. 170 is not enough, but I like the way this team is playing. And now I feel like the pressure's on Colorado. So, yeah, no, I'm not interested in that 175 now here.
I would look to go under 6.5 if it got there. Just magnitude of the game. 2 of the last 3 have gone under, and I say it all the time. Later in the series you get, the more these guys know every trick in the book the other team has. So they do get lower scoring as the series gets longer. And 2 really good goaltenders, really good offense with Colorado. But I think with that good goaltending, this could be a tight game.
It feels like an under game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like an under game. Maybe wait to see if this gets to 6.5 since we're at 6 juiced over already. The only could say, well, it's funny because you have two ways to look at it, which is the traditional way that you guys look at it. Elimination game, it's going to be a lot tighter. I don't know if this would technically be a glass half full, glass half empty way to look at it. If Dallas gets up 2 in the third period, let's say like it's 2-0, 3 or 3-1 would probably be the better way to look at it. Colorado's just going to pull the goalie for as long as humanly possible.
Yeah.
So even if they're down 4, but again, I think that's just me just finding ways to lose bets that are seemingly good bets in the back of my mind. By the way, there are some 6.5s that are starting to come into the market on this game.
I see that.
I would be very patient here if you like this underweight and then go under 6.5. So again, you're not pushing a 4-2 game. You're winning a 4-2 game, which is a very realistic final here in this one.
That would be half a goal difference.
Yeah.
For our numbers. So yeah, under 6.5.
Going next to St. Paul, Vegas, Minnesota. Knights, of course, win game 5 in overtime. Brett Howden, the hero, and now won 5.5 the total. Game 5 did go under that total. Vegas, it just still feels steep. I know there's, again, question mark on who's at net tonight for Minnesota because Gustafson left game 5 with an illness. Fleury finished. He didn't really get tested too much in his period and a few minutes in overtime. So monitor that on who's going to be in net tonight for Minnesota. I still plus 145 feels like a reasonable bite on the underdog here, regardless if it's Gustafson or Fleury in net for Minnesota, Alex.
The number with Minnesota at home has been lower all year long. So with that being said, I would need plus 155 to take
10
back.
more
Actually,
cents.
that's what I made it. So I'd want plus 175 to really even jump in here on the dog. But yeah, I mean, definitely look for Gustafson. I think he's okay. It was just an illness. I don't think it was an injury. So
correct.
Yeah, that makes me pretty confident that he will be going tonight. Nothing for me. I mean, can't make a case for the dog. I don't really want to see the dog win. I mean, if anything, I'd be kind of looking at a Knights alternate, even like that run line. Run line?
Puck line. Yeah. I always follow home and away splits. I think they're just so important. And even getting, I guess, yesterday I talked about Tampa and how good they were at home and Florida on the road average during the season. It really doesn't matter what they did in the season. This is a new season. So kind of following it, the 2 games in Minnesota, Wild win 5-2, Knights win 4-3 in overtime. So basically 6.5 goals a game there in the first 2. So I'm not betting it over. I'm not trying to make a case for the over. I'm really just trying to make a case not to bet it under here. So I'm passing. I think the side is right, but I'm rooting for the Golden Knights. Got a couple tickets on them to win this series that I'm going to roll over to the next series.
So I will just say I do like the line changes that Cassidy made and putting the 2 best defensive centers together with Carlson and Eichel. I think it really worked out well for them. I believe they're going with the same lines that we saw from the last game. So I think the Knights figured something out. I mean, to slow down that Kirill line, which is what they needed to do because he has been very good in this series.
Eichel, I thought, was the best player on the ice on Tuesday night in that win for Vegas. All right, last one. Of course, more Pacific Pod games. We go to Edmonton now. Oilers have won 3 in a row, trying to knock the Kings out again of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Here you go tonight. 3-2 series lead, total of 6, minus 65 on the Oilers. Finally, we had an under in this series in game 5 in a 3-1 Edmonton win. But Kenny, you've mentioned this the whole series long. The ice plays faster in Edmonton. It's a lower total of 6. I get it's an elimination game, but isn't this the one where you look for the extra empty net goals and go over 6 in a series that's been 4-1 to the over so far?
I have to stay with my streak. You got 11 goals in game 3. There was only 7 goals and it did take overtime.
Hey, that's still good enough.
It's
Kenny.
still good enough to cash the ticket. Yeah. Maybe it just, I didn't look back, but maybe they had a couple of shots hit the post and didn't get in that game. The ice is fast. Edmonton's a high scoring team. I'm going to continue to play that system and play over in this game tonight.
I like the over as well, especially because the Kings, kind of like you were talking about with Colorado and Dallas, they're going to come out fast and they're going to put everything they can, throw everything they can at Calvin Pickard. So we do have a backup goalie here for the Oilers as well, because we haven't seen Stewart in a couple games now. I just think, with that being said, we know what the Oilers are capable of, and they will turn it on at the end of the game here. So I think we can definitely get over 6. It's a lean to the Kings for me. Darcy Kemper is a finalist for the Vezina. He played good all year. I mean, I know it's a lot of pressure now, and now we're in playoffs, and the Oilers have more of the momentum, but I mean, that plus 145 is pretty tempting there for the Kings to keep this and force a game 7.
Kemper's been great in this series for the most part. And I'll just say this with Edmonton, where we know the talent. We know the high-end talent on this team. If they can get a reasonable effort from Skinner, you just need reasonable. And again, this series has been mostly a mess, goaltending-wise for Edmonton. But you know what? Pickard, as you said, I should say, Pickard was great in Game 5.
Yeah,
and if you get another effort like that, you're in a good spot here for Edmonton.
Kings put up 16 goals in the first 3 games.
Yeah.
And 4 in the last 2.
Yeah, a little bit different.
I forgot to bring up how we talk about the Oilers and them relying on, their stars with McDavid and Draisaitl. If you look at the Kings, their numbers are actually even more concerning with how many minutes some of these guys are playing and how few minutes some of the guys are playing. So I actually have the real numbers here. So, last night, no, that is not it. I will have to find it. But it's just, I mean, they've got 3 forwards that are playing under 5 minutes, and the rest is just all on everybody else. So maybe that is why they scored so early in this series, and now they're just getting a little more tired down here as it goes on.
Let's take a quick look at the Conn Smythe odds entering today. And these numbers from FanDuel here. And you're going to see a lot of flavor of teams that have already moved on, plus the Edmonton Oilers. Or Connor McDavid is your betting favorite. No shock there at 10-1. Aho, who of course was the hero in Game 5 for Carolina at at 15-1. Draisaitl 15-1. Bob at 16-1. And then a look at the cavalcade of Panthers behind him. Ottinger 70-1. McKinnon 20-1. Hellebuck 22-1. Jack Eichel makes the list at 28-1 on the Knights. I'll just throw this out there real quick. If you don't think Florida, Carolina, or Edmonton is winning the Cup, if you don't think one of those three teams is winning the Cup, you got some great numbers out there still. And I'm going to make the case real quick just to see where the number is. I'm going to make the case for the former Golden Knight, who is now the goaltender for the Washington Capitals, Logan Thompson at 30-1, where Thompson, other than the game that he left because of injury in round 1, and yeah, he had an off night as it was even before he got hurt, but Logan Thompson's been great in this postseason. And he's been great. He was great in the regular season, obviously, as well. But you look at the path they're going to have to take in the Eastern Conference. Carolina, who has been, again, you think priced heavier than they should have all year long. Carolina might very easily be a favorite in that series. I don't think I've seen it. Yeah, Carolina. Yeah, there are numbers out now. Carolina's minus 50. I think that's a wrong team favorite. And Washington more likely to not win that series because of great goaltending from Thompson, which I think they'll get. They get Florida under the microscope again, and it doesn't matter if it comes out of the West. All the teams that are live in the West are more likely than not going to be one of the high-end teams. 30-1 on Thompson feels short at this point in the postseason. I would look to him, which also kind of leads me as well to a team that of course, naturally, it's funny whenever this happens, going the other way. I think the Caps are a reasonable value to win the Cup at the moment as well on this one.
I don't hate that at all. I mean, I've been talking about the Caps all year long and that they could make a run here. Now I'm kind of getting a little nervous seeing Carolina up there, and who I do think is the rightful 15-1. I might be like you, where all in on Carolina last year and I jump off the ship and then they lift the Cup this year. But it's tough. And you're right, though. You can find some really good numbers. I would look down the board. I actually really like Strome if Washington was going to win that. And then I like Aiden Hill. I would make the case for the goalie on the other side, who I think is going to come out of the West, especially with, it's kind of, they're a very well-balanced team. And I know Eichel was the best, but they step up in different games. So I think it could go to Aiden Hill if they won. Nothing. We'll come back.
So I'll just say real quick, there are good odds down the board if you want to get creative here, regardless. You can get Mark Stone at 40-1 still. You can get, again, you can get a lot of these Dallas Stars guys. You can get Randon at 65-1. You can get, if you like Colorado to come back in this series and make a run, you can get Mackenzie Blackwood at 80-1. You can get, there are a lot of guys on this board that you can go down the board and find some value in this Conn Smythe market. All right, let's go to the NBA. Now we're going to shift gears. The other playoff games. Game 6 is tonight in the association. Really the big news last night. Golden State and Houston will now go to a game 6. Alex and I will break that game down tomorrow. But the Lakers are done. They're out. Minnesota dispatches them in 5. Very impressively done. Even on a night where Minnesota couldn't make a 3, even though the dagger was Mike Conley's corner 3 with a little over a minute to go. But the Timberwolves, look, this is 2 straight years now where, again, they were in a series where no one picked them. Last year against Denver, they shocked Denver, beat the defending champs in 7 in Denver, no less. Yeah, I know they lost the next round, but Alex, I don't know many people other than our guy Sean who bet the Minnesota Timberwolves to upset the Lakers, but credit to Minnesota. They move on and dispatch of the Lakers in 5 pretty easily. They'll get the winner of Golden State and Houston in round 2.
I mean, I love what I've seen from them, but that does concern me a little bit. And you just brought it up where they just gave their all to upset the Nuggets, the defending champion. And I mean, I don't think they gave their all with the Lakers there, but still, I just don't see this team making a deep run. So I think they'll make it interesting now for whoever does come out of that Houston and Golden State series, that's for sure. I like them more than I would have liked the Lakers against either of them.
I will say I'm very intrigued to see what a Minnesota Golden State series will be priced, assuming that is what we get. If Minnesota plays Houston, I would make Minnesota the favorite like Golden State was against the Rockets, and I would think actually Minnesota would dispatch Houston pretty quickly. I think that's a bad matchup for the Rockets more so than anything, but it'll be interesting to see what that pricing is. Of course, Oklahoma City, the only other Western Conference team that's already advanced, they're going to end up with more than a week off from when they dispatched Memphis. All right. The only series in the Eastern Conference that is still alive is the Knicks and the Pistons. Detroit's favored here in this one. They're a 1.5-point favorite at home. Again, injury concerns on the Knicks side. Brunson's banged up. We're not sure if we're going to see Josh Hart not tonight. 213.5 the total. This has been a wild series total-wise. Last 2 games have gone under. Kenny, what are we looking at here? Detroit trying to force a game 7 back at Madison Square Garden over the weekend.
Again, for me, I'm going to be on the under in this game. I made the Knicks a half, but that's 100% healthy. That's with Hart and Brunson both playing. If those guys are out, I'm definitely going to have to shift to the Pistons being a favorite in this game, but that would drop my total even lower. The pace has been about average, 97 possessions per game, but both teams have played above average defense in this series, so I expect that to continue. Again, the later in the series, the better off we're going to be. I split my unders last night, had the Houston Golden State game under. They couldn't miss. The pace was a little faster than I expected, and that's because of the huge lead that the Rockets got early. I was expecting the Warriors to be ready to play defense because they're a veteran team. I think they may have been more, hey, we'll save our energy a little bit, and we know we're going to beat them at home. And I think they get that next game at home. So I'm under though here in the Knicks and Pistons.
I think they did as well, but I feel like that is kind of a risky proposition. But we've seen Golden State do this before, but it's not the same winning Golden State team. But we'll see what happens in the next game. This series has, like you said, Jeff, been all over the place, but I really do think the Pistons have really shown how good they are throughout this series and that they can hang with the Knicks in this one. I would lean to that side, especially with injury concerns, and Brunson has really helped this team, even be to this point and have this many wins. So I like the Pistons side. I'm not going to bet it, though.
I'm staying away from this. Again, I think there's a legitimate argument to be made that Detroit should have won this series already.
Yeah.
I mean, they blew a big lead in game 1. Obviously, the controversial finish in game 4, as we know. Again, home teams also only won 1 game in this series. That was the Knicks in game 1. Road teams won 4 consecutive in this Knicks-Pistons series. So I'm staying the heck away. I don't know. All I know is the winner of this series is going to lose to Boston in 5. That's what I feel pretty confident on, especially now that the Celtics are going to be rested and healthier, getting out with extra rest after that Orlando series. All right, we'll go to L.A. next. Boy, this feels like a missed opportunity from the Clippers, and now that Denver has command of this series. Clippers right now, by the way, series price on them is plus 175, which I do not think is good enough to justify that. I'd rather just take the Clippers in game 7 on the road if I like this at this rate. So Clippers are 6, 212. And Nuggets really, honestly, dominated game 5. I know it got down to single digits in the 4th, but they pushed it right back to 15 pretty quickly. Jamal Murray was incredible in that game. And that, we said it yesterday, that version of Jamal Murray shows up. It's going to be very hard for the Nuggets to not lose this series at this point, for the Clippers to come back. And that version of Nuggets is live to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. Nothing for me tonight. Wouldn't be shocked if the Clippers force game 6. Wouldn't shock me if Denver wins this game and just ends this thing here tonight. So this is a pure stay off for me.
I will say, I heard Jonathan Von Tobel talking about NBA, and if you just play the zigzag, they were 20-10 through the first 30 games. So if that continues here, I mean, and that's against the spread. So if it continues here, even though that 6 looks really big for the Clippers, it would be that side back at home. That's the way I lean too. I think we're going to see a game 7. Just a matter if they can cover this.
I'm, with like the lone wolf on Denver, that I thought they should have been the favorite at home and almost like a pick on the road. I only made the Clippers 1 in this game, but it is a zigzag, and I give 2.5 points for that. So I adjusted the Clippers to 3.5. I think it's a 1 possession game, and it's going to go down to the wire, which could help lead to an under. The pace has been extremely slow in this series, and that's the way the Clippers want to play it. So it's more at their pace, but Denver can play that. They can play half-court basketball. They just got such great passers with Jokic and Murray. So I'm on Denver. I took 7 yesterday. I still think you can find a 6.5 today.
And you might get 7 even by the time this game starts. It's not impossible. Nuggets 6-point dogs against the Clippers in this one. All right, real quick from the chat, Nick pointing out that Hines, the coach of Minnesota, said Gustafson's feeling better, so an expectation that we will see him in that for the Wild here tonight in that one between the Knights and Minnesota. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to go to the whiteboards here on a Thursday. We'll also give you the trivia answer when we get back. Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White. Before we get the whiteboards, which you see are already up and ready to roll here on a Thursday, trivia time. Baseball today. On this date, May 1st, 1920. So we're going way back in the time machine here. The longest game in Major League history was played. Who are the two teams that played in that game? Kenny, I don't think you were around for this
I have
one.
no idea.
Pittsburgh
was involved.
They were not. They were not. Good. That's a good guess. So it's two teams that currently are not in the city they played this game in. And actually, it was multiple cities ago for one team. The game was between the Brooklyn Robins, who of course turned into the Brooklyn Dodgers and are now the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Boston Braves. Boston, Milwaukee, Atlanta. There you go. A few spots in between. Played a 26-inning game that ended in a tie. 1-1. Because this was pre-lights. They ran out of sunlight. Ran out of sunlight. And I think was the crazier part of it. The game only lasted 3 hours and 50 minutes. It went 26 innings. How about that?
That's pretty incredible.
That might be the most incredible thing of all. By the way, JR got it right. So JR kicks off May with continuing his dominance in ticker trivia.
The wind was blowing in that day, 30 miles an hour.
By the way, Kenny, real quick on that, run in the fifth, run in the sixth, 26 innings, 20 innings with no runs.
That's incredible.
That's nuts in its own right. All
Call
right.
that the dead ball era.
Hey, look, that was that was dead ball era.
That might have been before they changed the rules of throwing in a clean baseball, where they played with it was the pitcher's job to dirty the ball up as much as he possibly could. By the second or third inning, the ball was almost black.
That's great. Whiteboard time on a Thursday, and we will begin our whiteboards today with the one and only Alex White here on a Thursday.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm started off. Okay, I think we're actually kind of opposite today, but I am going to go with the Royals and the Rays under 4 in that first 5. I like what I've seen from both of these pitchers. I think they can do a good job here today against these offenses. Rangers, minus 130. Verlander, first 5. And then I'm going Giants, minus half a run. First 5, minus 140. Going up against the Rockies here, so they got to get right in this spot.
2 baseballs for me. One's just getting started here in 5 minutes. That's the Brewers over the White Sox. I'm going to lay the 1.5 even money with them. Red Sox, I'm looking for Tanner Houck to turn it around. Do factor, going to have a big start today, minus a dime. In the NHL, Edmonton, LA, over the 6 tonight. NBA, take the Nuggets plus the points. And the late game, or I guess the first game of the night, Knicks and Pistons under 213.
There we go. There are your whiteboards here today for Thursday, May 1st. All right, that's what we got for you. This has been Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. Shout out to the crew, Ryan, Jerry, Ann, Vince, Drew Dog, Sean. Happy birthday to Ann one more time as well from all of us. Our Kentucky Derby preview with plenty of picks is on South Point Studio right now, South Point Studio on YouTube. Make sure you're clicking subscribe for our button here on Sports by the Book. Kenny, Alex, good luck. Here today, Alex, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll see Chris Andrews on the show as well. Right here, 10 a.m., Monday through Friday, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.